The email subject line said, "Change of plans." My bereavement leave had been approved for 5 days to bury my father. At 6:41 p.m., the night before my flight, my boss wrote, "We need you for Friday's QBR. Your leave is canceled." I didn't argue in the thread. I took a screenshot of the approval, opened the policy, and called the one person who outranks a panicked manager, the HR leave specialist who knows the Family and Medical Leave Act by heart. By morning, my canceled leave was an HR designated. FMLA absence, job protected, non-negotiable, and my boss had a new vocabulary lesson, non-interference. I'm Tessa Morgan, 31, operations project manager at a distribution tech company in Chicago Midline Logistics. If you've ever tracked a package and seen 5 scans in one day in 3 cities, that's us. I'm good at wrangling timelines and bad at letting my phone die. A therapist would call that hyper-responsible, and my calendar would call it color-coded chaos. My dad, Mark Morgan, owned a small engine repair shop in Joliet for 30 years. He smelled like coffee and machine oil and kept a jar of lollipops on the counter for customers' kids and cranky adults. In October, he went into the hospital for what we were told would be a short stay. It wasn't. On a Tuesday morning, standing by the copier at work, my mom called and said, "He's gone," and the room bent. I printed 50 blank pages because grief makes you push the wrong button. I told my manager, Blake Rorka, man who schedules culture huddles and calls himself a fixer. He put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Take the time you need." Our handbook promised 5 paid days for immediate family. HR's generalist, Maya, entered it into Workday while I sat with a paper cup of water and my heart trying to climb out of my chest. She printed me a little approval letter like a permission slip. "I'm so sorry," she said, and slid me tissues. We booked a Friday funeral. I used my evenings to help my mom choose a suit, find a photo for the program, call the VA to ask whether he could be buried with a flag. I added my out of office to my email and Slack, out on bereavement leave. For urgent issues, contact my backup, Alex. The night before my flight, I stood in my kitchen folding a black dress into a garment bag while my phone pinged. "Blake, change of plans, need you on Friday's QBR to walk the slide on throughput. If you can call in for 30 minutes, we'll consider the rest of your time covered. Appreciate your can-do attitude." I stared at the screen long enough for the words to float and resettle. QBR, Quarterly Business Review. Slide 14, the one with the purple bars and the note, narrate Delta versus forecast. I could recite those bars in my sleep. My dad would. "Be in a casket at 11 a.m., I replied. "My leave is approved." "I won't be available Friday." He replied, "I need you." I can't move the reviewing VP, and Alex doesn't know the story. Then, without a question mark, join for 30, then go back to family. I took a screenshot of the exchange and of my approved leave. I pulled down the policy PDF I'd saved the day I was hired because I save everything. 5 paid days for the death of an immediate family member. Manager notification required, HR approval required. A line I hadn't noticed before. If bereavement coincides with an FMLA qualifying event, HR will coordinate. My mom has congestive heart failure. She'd been in cardiac rehab in September. After a hospital stay, she was scheduled for a cardiology follow-up Monday and could not be alone in the days leading up to the funeral or after. I had already planned to stay a week to help her manage meds, drive her to appointments, and prevent the kind of grief-induced chaos that leads to A visits. Caring for a parent with a serious health condition is FMLA 101. I called Blake. Picked up on the second ring, voice bright. "Tess, you got my note. Thank you for being a team player. This is visibility we can't miss." "Blake," I said, "I won't be on the QBR. HR approved my bereavement leave." Also, I'll be out next week on FMLA to care for my mom. She's a cardiac patient. I'll send the certification. He switched tones like a DJ. FMLA, that's for maternity stuff, right? We can flex the bereavement if you just dial in for FMLA. Covers care for a parent with a serious health condition, I said. It's job protected leave. HR will handle the notices. Silence. Then smug. FMLA requires 30 days notice. When foreseeable, I said. This isn't. I'm giving notice as soon as practicable. I'll contact the leave specialist now. Okay, but we still need, he started. I won't be on the QBR, I said, and hung up because a boundary is not a debate. I emailed the leave specialist whose name sat in my brain like a safety net. Marisol Garza, leave in compliance. Subject, FMLA plus bereavement urgent. I attached ICHR's approval of 5 bereavement days, the funeral program draft, date time, my mother's discharge paperwork from September, CHF diagnosis, cardiology follow-up, a short note, I will be primary, caregiver for my mom post-funeral, requesting FMLA starting Friday through next Friday, will provide medical certification within 15 days. She called in 10 minutes. I'm so sorry about your dad, she said, practical and kind. You're eligible over 12 months with 1,250 plus hours, and we're over 50 employees. You'll get an eligibility notice and rights and responsibilities email in a few minutes. Bereavement is separate. We'll classify Friday as bereavement and next week as FMLA to care for your mom. I'll also send the medical certification form. For her cardiologist. Blake tried to cancel my leave, I said. He wants me on the QBR. She was quiet for a beat the way professionals are when they pick words they can defend in court. Managers don't cancel bereavement or FMLA. HR designates leave. While you're on FMLA, they cannot require you to work. They can make brief, non-burdensome contact, but not assignments. If he pushes, forward me the messages. I have screenshots, I said. Good, she said. I'll loop an HRBP and send a non-interference reminder. At 7:24 p.m., my inbox pinged with 3 emails. Notice of eligibility and rights and responsibilities, FMLA, medical certification. Form, to be completed by mom's doctor, FMLA designation notice, pending certification. Bereavement Friday, FMLA Monday, Friday, at 7:31 p.m., an email to both of us from Marisol. Tessa will be on bereavement leave Friday and on FMLA. The following week to care for her mother with a serious health condition. Please direct all urgent matters to Alex. As a reminder, FMLA prohibits interference or retaliation. Do not assign work to Tessa during her leave. Blake replied all. Understood. He also texted me privately at 8:05 p.m. If you can just hop on for 10 minutes, I'll cover the rest. I did not reply. I forwarded the text to Marisol. The plan was grim and simple. Bury my father, take care of my mother, and not let a job rewire my grief. I put my laptop in a drawer and slid it closed like sealing a coffin. I set my out of office to something that made it clear a human lived here. I'm out on bereavement leave. If you need anything for the QBR, please contact Alex. Think. You for your compassion. I drove to my mom's. Grief changes the size of the world. Streetlights look theatrical. Grocery aisles feel like churches. Mom sat at the table with a stack of sympathy cards like a dam. He fixed a snowblower on Christmas Eve for Mrs. Bartlett, she said, reading one. He wouldn't take payment. She left fudge. We should learn to make fudge, I said, and we cried into a recipe we didn't have. The funeral was at 11. The QBR was at 10. At 10:06 a.m., while I pinned a boutonniere to my dad's brother's suit, My Apple Watch buzzed with a Slack mention. I ignored it. 2 minutes later, a text from Blake. Bora is asking where you are. Join audio only? I hit silence for 1 hour. The organist played How Great Thou Art, like she was holding a roof up with cords, after the service. We stood in the receiving line. A man I didn't know introduced himself as Mike, your dad fixed my mower in a blizzard. He cried. I hugged him. I did not think about throughput variance. Back at the house, Mom's neighbor brought a casserole. That cafe to church. We ate standing up because chairs made us remember nights we could sit. At 4 p.m., I checked my phone. 8 emails. 2 Slacks. 1 voicemail from Blake. Call me. We need to discuss your attitude. I forwarded everything to Mary Saul with a 1-line note, attaching contacts during leave. Feels like interference, she replied. I've addressed. Focus on your family. At 5:37 p.m., my inbox chimed with a calendar invite. HRK, non-investigatory. Monday, 9 a.m., Zoom. From HRBP, we want to make things easier, not harder. We'll handle the business side, I breathed. Maybe this would be okay. On Saturday, I took my mom to the pharmacy to sort medications because grief makes bottles look like riddles. We sat with a pharmacist named Dawn who explained beta blockers and diuretics with the patience of a saint. I typed a schedule into my phone, morning, noon, evening, bedtime. I taped it to the fridge. The act of making a list is prayer for people like me. On Sunday, I picked up my mom's church friend Lupe, who said she'd sit with Mom Tuesday and Thursday mornings while I slept on the couch or cried in the garage. The healthcare world calls this respite. I call it a lifeline with a key. On Monday, I Zoomed with HR from Mom's dining room while the clock ticked the way clocks do in houses where someone is missing. Louder.MRISOL in the HRBP. Aaron appeared in neat rectangles. We're sorry for your loss, Aaron said first. We want to talk about boundaries and the law. He laid it out clean. Bereavement leave. Company policy, we give 5 paid days. Family and Medical Leave Act. Federal law, 12 weeks unpaid. But protected for your own serious health condition or to care for a spouse, child, or parent with a serious health condition, you're eligible. We've designated your leave. Your manager may not require work or penalize you for not working. Health insurance continues. You pay your normal premiums. Please gather medical certification from your mom's cardiologist within 15 days. Marisol said, until then, your leave is provisional. It's still protected. I'll call our doctor today, I said. We've also reminded your manager that contacting you for the QBR was inappropriate, Aaron said. We will train all managers this quarter to avoid future issues. Thank you, I said and meant it. Blake did not appreciate new vocabulary. On Tuesday, he emailed my team. Given Tessa's sudden absence, deliverables may slip. Please note that attendance at reviews is non-optional. He CC'd me. The subtext was not subtle. Disappear at your peril. I forwarded it to HR Marisol. Responded to the entire thread. As previously stated, Tessa is on bereavement leave and then FMLA. No one should contact her for work. Statements implying negative consequences for taking protected leave are prohibited. Direct concerns to HR. Later, Alex, my backup, texted, "Don't worry, I got the slide." Also, for the record, the VP was fine. He said, "Tell Tess too. Take care of her family. It's always the people with actual power who aren't threatened by a human being human." On Wednesday, Mom's cardiologist signed the certification. It was 3 pages of checkboxes that make a life into a form. Diagnosis, continuing treatment, likely duration, need for care. I scanned it and sent it to Marisol. She replied, "Designation finalized. Take care." At noon, Blake called. I let it go to voicemail. He left a message. We need to revisit your role if you can't flex when the business needs you. I looked at the phone like it was a radio playing a station I never wanted. I emailed HR a transcript because paper is how you win arguments. You don't want to have Thursday night, I got a calendar cancellation. 1-to-1 with Blake canceled. No reschedule. Then an email from Aaron. We'll be conducting a manager training Friday on leave compliance. You do not need to attend. We'll talk when you're back. I went back to work the following Monday, fragile and steadied by the ritual of making tea at my desk. The office smelled like the same coffee and copier ozone it always had. Grief is cruel. It makes normal feel like betrayal. I opened my laptop and put on noise-canceling headphones to muffle the feeling dot at 9:03 a.m. A calendar invite. Re-entry. Check-in. HRBP Aaron. Leave specialist Mary saw me. No, Blake. We wanted to welcome you back, Aaron said. Also to let you know the outcome of our review. He spoke with the careful precision of someone who knows every word could be read later in a deposition. Your manager interfered with bereavement leave and attempted to interfere with FMLA. We've issued a final written warning for noncompliance. Removed him from your reporting line and reassigned you to operations programs under a different director. Effective immediately, you report to Kendra Evans. You will not be penalized in performance reviews for taking leave. We've updated your goals accordingly. I blinked. I didn't want anyone fired, I said, because love makes you soft in weird places. Neither do we, Aaron said. We want managers who know the law. He will attend additional training. If there's further retaliation, we'll address it. Marisol added, we also updated our bereavement policy to make HR the final approver and moved manager notification. Tell heads up status. No one person can cancel it. We added a line, employees may not be asked to work during bereavement or FMLA leave. Thank you, I said. Relief is heavy. It lands like a blanket. Kendra joined the call too. Say hi. She had the calm of a person who respects limits. I'm sorry for your loss, she said. Your work is strong. We'll pace your return, no heroics. Alex and I split the backlog. Take the easy tickets today. I'll sit with you on the tough ones tomorrow. I hung up and cried at my desk in the quiet, then blew my nose into a napkin that had once held a donut. It felt like an appropriate liturgy dot the next week. Kendra asked me to lead a post-incident process review, internal code for whoops, we broke a human. I created a one-pager managers could actually use when an employee mentions a death, illness, or caregiving need. Pause. Ask, do you want me loop in HR leave? The correct answer is yes. Bereavement is policy, FMLA is law. Managers don't cancel either, while on FMLA, no assignments. Brief check-ins, okay, if truly non-burdensome. No performance hits for protected. Leave. Track work, not hours, online. Direct all questions to HR. Your memory of the law from 2009 is not valid currency. We turned it into a 5-slide deck. Kendra and HR co-taught manager sessions titled Leave Without Fear. The first slide had my dad's lollipop jar, no names, and a line, people are not resources. They are the reason the work exists. It felt slightly sappy. It was. Also true, Blake lasted 2 more months. He struggled with non-interference as a concept and document what you say as a practice. Eventually, he took a role outside the company to pursue opportunities, which is corporate for. We stopped pretending this was working. I felt no joy, only a small untying of a knot I didn't know I had kept in my stomach muscle. Meanwhile, the VP who ran the QBR sent me an email out of nowhere. Hey, Tessa, just a note. When you're ready, I'd like you to own our QBR story. Next cycle, take the time you need. It was 10 words and a door dot at home. My mom taped her medication schedule to a new refrigerator because the old one sounded like a rainstorm. She made fetch from a recipe Miss Bartlett dug out of a drawer and brought a plate to Dawn, the pharmacist. She started sleeping through the night more often than not, and when she woke, she would call me to tell me something my father would have liked. The neighbor's baby's laugh, a bird at the feeder, a bear's whin he would have called lucky, turned into a series of rituals that feel like building a bridge while walking on it. Sunday phone calls. Wednesday trash night, the first snow measured against the threshold he used to sweep. The ache didn't leave. It learned to sit politely at the edge of the room, thought at work. I built a Bereavement FMLA, a quick reference page for our intranet with HR's help. Who's eligible? What counts? What to expect? What to say? We added a little script for managers. I'm sorry for your loss. HR will coordinate your leave. We'll cover your work. Please don't worry about us. We added for employees. If you are asked to work during leave, reply, I'm on leave, or don't reply at all. Forward messages to HR. We added a sentence I wrote for myself the night before the funeral. Your job is smaller than your love. It sat in a gray box with a soft border and made me cry at my desk again. Maybe someone else would need that line at 2 a.m. The next quarter, I ran the QBR slide deck. The purple bars obeyed. The story made sense. Afterward, the VP said that was crisp. My new director sent a pizza to my mom's house because my mom is now part of every metric. You don't get over some things, you incorporate them. A few months later, a coworker pinned me quietly. My husband's having surgery. I think I qualify for FMLA. Can you... I sent her the link, introduced her to Marisol, and added, you don't owe anyone a performance in your pain. She said thank you in a way that felt like receiving a baton. I still have the screenshot of Blake's leave is canceled. I keep it not to gloat, but to remember that people will say confident, wrong things when they're afraid. And then other people, professionals with calm voices and crisp forms, will say the right things with authority. And the world will click back into a shape you can stand on. My dad's lollipop jar sits on my kitchen counter now. Sometimes I take one on the way to a meeting that scares me and tell myself it's from him. The cherry ones taste like the color red. The grape ones taste like cough syrup. The lemon ones taste like a small sun. On days when work feels like a machine that will run until you disappear, I suck on a lemon lollipop and remember that machines require maintenance and humans require grace. If a manager cancels compassion, escalate to policy. Bereavement is policy. Caregiving under FMLA is federal law. Ask HR's leave specialists for the notices, keep a timeline, forward the interference, and let the right people say the right words in writing. The cleanest revenge isn't a clapback, it's a calm designation notice that ends the debate. Note, FMLA is a federal law. Eligibility and state bereavement laws vary. This story is set in Illinois, which also has a Family Bereavement Leave Act. Always follow your company's process.